Hello, my beautiful beings. Welcome back to the Beaming Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the difference between self-care and self-love. I think this is something that is so fascinating because in the beginning of my healing journey and just coming back from a shaved head, I shaved my head off in 2015. I was in high school. I was a senior, didn't tell anybody in my family, and they literally saw it when I was on stage. So I came to know self-care in a place in life where I was trying to figure out how to grow my head back from a shave. Okay. And I got really into YouTube and I just really found this love for long form content, aesthetic self-care videos, morning routines, evening routines. And I just started to love watching how other people took care of themselves. I always loved hair. I always loved like makeup, outfits. Like I've always been my most authentic self. In high school, I would literally wear cheetah print, hot pink toe, Jeffrey Campbell's, thank you very much, to school because I wanted to. I've always been like that. I've always just like rocked what I got. That's what I used to call it when I was a teenager. And to this day, like I'm literally wearing jeans, a teddy bear t-shirt, and a dress because I felt like it. Like I can't with myself. But it's so true. I just have always rocked what I've got. So I got to a point where self-care, I started to understand it was like almost like you had to have these products. And I would watch a video and I would get exactly what that influencer had and, pretty much spent so much money on products I didn't need. But I came to understand later in life there's a difference between self-care and self-love. Self-love, I didn't really come to understand that concept until probably about like a year and a half ago. I'm 28 years old today. And I feel like self-love, I didn't understand that concept until I genuinely got to a point where I started to love myself. Because even though I was this very vibrant, confident, person in high school, it took me really getting to know myself from my core and really licking my internal wounds and doing a lot of shadow work to understand what self-love means. There's a difference between going into a bath, putting out all your candles, all the bath salts, your bath bombs, whatever you want to do in there, and make videos of it and whatever you're doing versus like self-love. Self-love to me is setting up a bath because I'm making an intentional choice to exist within that present moment and really focus on my gratitude and really just having a moment for myself, an intimate moment where I can choose to love me more than anybody else on this planet could. Because if there's one thing I really understand about self-love is that nobody is going to love you as much as you love you. You are the one in this world that knows every ounce of your brain, your experiences, your thoughts, your emotions. So why wouldn't you want to really love yourself? And this is something I'm still getting to know within myself. I've been in a lot of relationships, not a lot of relationships, but like three really serious ones. But like situationships, and I've dated and boy, I was a player. Okay, that's a conversation for another day. I don't know. Maybe it'll come up in this episode. I don't really have a plan for these. I really just sit down and talk. Pause. I've been in a couple of relationships. I've had my own personal love experiences. Okay, thank you. And what I've arrived at this moment in time of my life is that it's really important to have an unshakable love for yourself, because if you don't have that, you're going to look for that love from someone else and put this responsibility onto them that's just not theirs. And it's not anything that they can really do because they can't really love you the way that you want to be loved, because it's not their job to understand the depths of your trauma, your emotional baggage, and you have to be in a space in life where you're receptive to somebody coming in and supporting you. At least that's to my knowingness at 28 years old today. Okay, so I don't know. So I just think it's really important to understand the depths of you so that way you know what you're looking for within that future partner. You know what you're looking for. You're not creating expectations on something, and just really coming from a place of really loving yourself for real. And self-love also too, I think it's just more about slowing down the present moment, like really getting to know what you like and enjoying it. So I think self care, let's bridge the gap. Self care is finding the things that just make you feel good. Like, yeah, honestly, for me, I love a good Loctane. I think that's how you pronounce it. Body oil soap. You can get it. Oh my God, the vanilla almond smells so good. I love Epsom salt. I love rose Epsom salt from Bobby from Earth and Soul. If you live in LA, go hit her up. I love her Epsom salt. I just love romanticizing what I'm doing. And I think that is where the duality of self-love and self-care comes in, because self-care, yes, I do know really great products. Like I really am that girl. But what turns it into self-love is that I'm intentional with what I'm doing. I'm slowing down. I'm digesting my experience, and I'm really just holding such sacred space for myself in those moments. And now that I'm 28 and I'm here, I've arrived at this moment in time where I really understand myself, what makes me feel beautiful, what makes me feel liberated, what makes me feel free. It's that I love being in the moment and tending to myself. I love my solitude, which is absolutely crazy for me to share with you all, because there was a point in time in my depression where I literally just didn't even know what was what. I was having like suicidal thoughts. I was in a depressive state. I didn't even know if I would get to tomorrow. I remember, you guys, there was a point in time, and my healer Ulta, she would attest to this. There was a point in time where I used to say this all the time, this saying right here. Well, I just want to make it to 25. And I remember Ulta asked me, why 25? Why 25? And even to this day, I'm like, I just want to make it to 30, even though I'm better now. I'm better now. That's just a career goal. But I used to say that because the days were just so dark. I didn't know, like they were just bleeding into each other. And I just didn't feel like, I used to say I didn't feel like I had a purpose, or didn't understand who I was. So like to be where I'm at today, vibrating at this frequency, showing up on this camera in this headspace from this vantage point is such a build for me. It's such a big moment in time. And I share this with you guys because if you are feeling really low right now, I am truly, honest to God, a testament of it will get better. And when people would say this to me when I was depressed, I didn't really understand. I genuinely didn't. I was like looking for almost like a playbook. So when I got into like spirituality, self-love, self-care, all the things, it just kind of felt like something that I couldn't necessarily grasp, and I would trust others to guide me to it because I felt like I almost needed a hand to get there, because honestly, my whole life I didn't really feel like anybody was guiding me. It was always just me, which kind of turns into me looking like I'm a know-it-all low-key, but like I think just there hasn't been a lot of people that have inquired on my inner self and like really honestly wanting to get to know me for real. But also I feel like I have a lot of protection mechanisms to make it so that I'm not real. Like I'm honestly just now getting to a point in life where I practice like vulnerability and transparency, which is probably why this never manifested in 2015 and why we're sitting here today in 2025. Wow, full 10 years. That's crazy. Wow, big eye opener right there. But seriously, it is just so important to get to know yourself and loving yourself for real. It's so easy to get lost in the aesthetics that are out there on the internet. But the reason why I think what I've always admired over morning routines, aesthetic routines, waking up at 5 a.m., I've tried those. Man, do I wish I could wake up at 5 a.m. I'm getting better though. I wake up at like 8 now. But when I watch those videos, what I admire and what I try to take from them is that wow, like I really adore how this person really commits to their color palette and they show up as them all the time. I think a perfect example of somebody I really look up to on YouTube is Hitomi. She is just, I'm going to put her Instagram in the caption or like right here. She is just honestly, she just shows up as herself all the time and is just exactly who she is. And I just love the way that she puts out her content. And it's moments like that, YouTubers like that, influencers like that, that show you that life is so meaningful. And it's just a perfect example of like a visual documentary or diary. And that's really my intention with these videos, is that you're just stepping down, you're dropping down, and we're sitting here and we're chatting, we're talking about the things. Also, I think a portion of self-love and self-care that comes up a lot as I look down at my Ordinary Girl by Hannah Montana right here on my phone that I was listening to because it's like my high vibe playlist. I'm like, I'm trying to get to the higher realms. I think one thing I love about self-love is that it gets you to ask yourself questions and to get personal with it. It's like this morning I woke up and I felt like, honestly, I just went through a really intense last like week. I feel like my days bleed into weeks, and I'm honestly so grateful of my awareness of self-care and self-love because it creates a balance in my life that I really look for within like work and pleasure. And I swear, and then being a woman, having to deal with like cycles, like your menstrual cycle. We have 4 phases of our cycle: the follicular phase, ovulation phase, menstruation, luteal. And we'll get into that in another episode because we are definitely gonna do an episode talking about periods, okay? But it's so hard to just like balance life on top of taxes, on top of insurance, on top of getting my tires changed because apparently that's something I have to do. Oh my gosh, it's just so many things. But I love that I have such a knowingness of like self-care and self-love because it shows me what do I need within this present moment, right? So I acknowledge this morning I was just feeling like shortness of breath. My anxiety is always present even though I feel like I really do a good job of managing it today. I woke up and I was like, okay, first things first, I have a meeting. So I had my meeting and it actually ended up being really long. And I loved it because I love what I'm doing right now. When I say I have found the holy trinity of my life, I am not even exaggerating, you guys. I have done every side hustle you could possibly think of. One of my life's mission was to try as many things as I'm possibly interested in, make money at the same time so that I can gain clarity on what I want. And I'm serious. I have my BA in communication and a minor in law. I have like almost four years of experience in law. I have my esthetician license. I have my manicure license. I am a certified sound healer and I'm on my way to be a certified healer. Okay. I have a lot of things. I've done a little bit of everything. Oh, I do hair on sets. Like the list is endless. But every person I ever talked to that was older than me, because most of my friends are older than me, said your 20s is about getting to know, what you're interested in doing. Because most of my friends that are above 30 didn't figure out what they wanted to do for their life past 30. And I'm like, look, I've got time. It took me a long time to understand that I have time because if there's one thing I do have, it's a Jewish grandmother. And if there's one thing Rochelle is going to do, she's going to ask me what my plan is because she wants to make sure that I'm set up. Okay? Being grateful for the people that helped me get to where I am today. And I love that. But at the same time, that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody in their 20s. So the understanding of self-love and self-care was so monumental to my growth because it illuminated being able to have grace. Having grace for self is so important. Because if you don't have balance, and then everything is going to feel like it's on top of you. And that, I don't know about you, but if there's one thing I don't want to do in this life, and you guys are probably going to start catching me saying this all the time, I am not trying to walk around on a lumpy carpet, okay? I'm not going to keep putting things sweeping things under the rug so to make more people comfortable. What? No. And I want to make myself comfortable. I really want a smooth carpet, okay? This carpet down here that I'm looking at is cheetah print. I don't see one bump. There might be a stain. Okay, we might get stains, but I don't want bumps in my carpet. I want to live a life that feels flowy, vibrant, and free. Because what is the point of living such a beautiful life? Something that's so interesting to me, and I don't know if other people do this, but when I'm driving and I'm looking around, I'm looking at how beautiful nature is in the midst of like being in LA, like so many buildings, so many cars, everybody's rushing and have places to go. You're honking at me, but this person's singing in their car. It's like just looking at life from like a nosebleed perspective. And the one thing I always come back at with myself is that I want to feel liberated and free. I want to feel like I'm experiencing this life. I do not want it to pass me by. So self-care and self-love has always been at the forefront of my mental because I want my life to be meaningful. There's a song by Beyonce. It's called I was here. And that is the anthem of my life goal. I want to leave my footprints on the sands of time, knowing that I left something behind. I want to help others. I want to help people feel this thing that I really emulate, which is a beam of light. I want people to understand how to get there because I come from the depths of my shadows. I can't even say it enough. There was a point in time in my life where I just didn't feel like I was ever going to be able to get here. So I'm just so proud of that. And I really, really want others to be able to access that within themselves because it's a really, really hard task to get to know yourself and to do shadow work. Look, if everybody could do shadow work, therapy and healing would be more appealing to people, okay? More appealing to people. More people would want to do it, so to speak. And every time I talk to somebody about therapy, it's almost like a scary word. It's like a bomb. And I think it's becoming a little bit more normalized in today's society due to like social media and podcasts and people really being expressive. But I think something that the universe is craving is just more people that are open to looking within because I think one thing, and this is something I really praise the youth for, is like I have a little sister, she's 17. Shout out JoJo, she's amazing. And she really shows me that her generation has gotten to a point in life where everything is pretty superficial or it's just very raw and real. There's really no sugarcoating. Like I can go over and tell her something, she's like, yeah, that sucks. Literally just like that, or I don't know, or but I also have to get on her level. Long story, but basically here's a perfect example that Joya does to me all the time. I will put out this video that's like super aesthetic-y. It took me a long time to like film, and I have like my I don't want to say I have an editing voice, but I do have a voiceover voice. I definitely do. And I'll like post it thinking it's so cool because I think I'm cool. And she'll be like, Brittany, that's cringy. And I'm like, and then she likes some of my more raw content. So it's just really funny how their generation just really loves raw realness. And I think that is something that is so cool because I think we're at a position within society where we're really going to get people that are just more emotionally intelligent, which is such a superpower. My emotional intelligence helps me talk to so many people and allows me to have this layer of professionalism that I never even thought was like possible. You guys, I could talk to just about anybody. The conversations I've had in my life, like I'm talking executives, CEOs, lawyers, judges, you name it, I've connected with it. And it's like crazy because it all just comes from really understanding myself from within. That way I can very much put myself out there as something that I'm proud of, and being able to digest information coming in and being able to process it within myself, not letting my traumas or my past wounds infiltrate my responses so that I'm not as biased. I'm not as one sided. And I say this to say self care, self love, it really helps you in every single walk of life. And I know that there is this idea that self-care is having the best products, having the best things, but self-care and self-love are just so different. Self-care is a way of self-love. Slowing down. You don't have to have the best of the best. I can't even tell you, I've moved probably 4 times within the last 2 years, like something crazy. I've done a lot of packing and a lot of moving. And one thing that I really realized this last time around is I don't really need much. As long as I have my dog, a couple pieces of my favorite jewelry, the things that make me feel like I can express myself within my clothing, couple hair products, that's really all I need. I don't need much. I love books. Gotta have my computer. Oh my gosh, if I didn't have my electronics, I don't know what I would do. But it's just a lot of, and this is coming from somebody that used to have everything. And I don't mean everything as far as like, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna lie. I do very much spoil myself. I can't even front with you guys. I will make sure that I have the things, okay? But I've narrowed it down. I don't need 10 leave-in conditioners, okay? So I've narrowed it down to one. Okay, so the things. You don't need to have it all. It doesn't need to be perfect. I do like my aesthetics and I do like things to match in color, but that's my own personal preference. But if I didn't have the means, I would just try to make those self care moments more meaningful so that they can transition into being more self love guided and fusing the two, because I think bridging the gap is really important, especially because I feel like there are so many kids out there that are like thinking they need the next Rhode lip liner or the next Kylie Cosmetics drop or the new Patrick Ta blushes. It's like, babe, I don't even have the Patrick Ta Duo blush because that shit is expensive. Okay. Like, what? It's getting to a point where it's just like getting a little bit like unrelatable. I'm not gonna lie. Can we go back to the rawness, please? I'm so happy that like camcorder footage is coming back, raw talks, like not editing a lot. I love editing, but like there's, I'm glad that it's starting to become a little bit more normalized. So I say that all to say, understanding the difference between self-love and self-care is really, really important to me, because I think it's just something that really just puts life back into perspective. We need to remember that life is a beautiful thing. It's something that's supposed to be cherished. And even when you're in your most dark moments, you still have this craving to want more for yourself. And I really can say that within my depths of my depression, I always wanted more. I just didn't know how to access that next right thing. And I say this all the time. Anna from Frozen 2, if you've never seen Frozen 2, just look up on YouTube the next right thing. She literally is in the depths of her shadows. She's sad. She's going through a really low point, but she builds herself back up and she just does that next right thing to ultimately get to the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think this is a beautiful visual representation of what life is supposed to be, especially when you're at the depths of your darkness or when you don't know how to turn around. Sometimes you just have to do that next right thing. And maybe that next right thing is getting up on your feet and looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you're going to be okay, or getting up from that sad moment and taking a bath that feels like a nice warm hug and makes you feel a little bit more supported and a little bit more refreshed. Maybe it is grabbing that journal and doing a deep dive on your thoughts, or calling a friend to see if that can help you feel better. Just finding that next right thing. Sometimes for me, that next right thing is grabbing a strawberry shortcake from Whole Foods and eating it in bed, or cuddling with my dog. Or I lately have been doing vitamin D breaks. I'll go stand in the sun or lay down flat on the floor so that I can feel Mother Earth under me and feel like I have access to my anchor and get a sense of grounding. So whatever it means to you, but just really understanding what self-care means to you. Not the best product, not following the next best thing or the trend, but finding what works with what you have and feeling the intention behind it to make it more meaningful and love-filled, because that's what self-love is. It's slowing down, being present in the moment, and feeling those ooey gooey feelings so that you can feel support. I know it sounds silly, but it really is a beautiful practice once you really start to understand it. There is a really good book called How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, I think is her name, or Louise Hale. I can't remember. I'll put it in the caption or put it right here on the screen. And you guys should definitely take a look at that. Another one is Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, I think it is. That one was great. I read that at the beginning of my healing journey. And my favorite book of all time, and I think this is my first time bringing it up on this pod, is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Oh my gosh, if he could give out like a medal of like, the Four Agreements, I feel like at this point in my life, I would have one. And definitely my best friend Riley, she would have one too. Because life is all about not taking things personal, being impeccable with your word, not creating expectations, and always doing your best. Those are the four agreements. And I really feel like that is something that I've really embodied at this point of my life. And I just really hope that you guys find that for yourself, because there is light at the end of the tunnel, even when you feel like you are just succumbing to your darkness and you are going to exist there. If you looked at life or being in a dark moment as in like a light switch, like a dimmer, the lights being all the way off would technically be you like not really being here anymore, and that's something I deeply resonated with at a certain point in my life. But even if you're in the dark, there's still a little bit of a dim. So just do that next right thing so you can slowly start raising this light and this dimmer so that you can access full abundant light, because it is so possible. It may just not feel like that right now, but doing that next right thing is possible. Dopamine releases are a thing, okay? With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining me. Every time I finish an episode, because I can really honestly feel when the channel has like just totally lost. I'm like, oh, I'm rambling at this point. And I'm just so grateful. I feel like whoever is listening is supposed to be here. And I hope I'm helping you feel a little bit more seen and a little less alone. And again, just so grateful. I'm going to go listen to this Hannah Montana Ordinary Girl, because apparently that is my vibe today. I'm feeling a little bit more high and a little bit more free. And it's just so cool to love life. And I'm going to probably go take a vitamin D break. You should go take one too. But if you want to catch up with me or keep up with me, I am on Instagram at Brittany Hope. On TikTok, I think I'm Brittany.hope. And I'll probably come out with a couple of more Instagrams here and there. But stay tuned. You know where to find me. And if you guys ever need anything, please feel free to reach out. Again, so thankful to have you guys here. Namaste.